Hello, good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to welcome you to the Kwabena Teye Center of African Studies for today's discussion on women's participation in drumming in the northern region of Ghana. Drumming has long been a powerful cultural expression, yet women's role in this tradition has often been overlooked. Today, we celebrate their contributions, explore challenges, and highlight the evolving dynamics of gender and music in northern Ghana. Thank you very much for joining us, and I look forward to enlightening conversation with you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Okay. So welcome, everyone. I hope you are well. Is it good? Okay. So I just want to say a few words about the center, which is one of the central academic units on campus. Since the creation of the world's first educational institutions in Africa, three key elements have been central to the mission of Black Studies, or what we call Africana Studies at AUCB. And that is cultural grounding, academic excellence, and social responsibilities. These three elements have been significant factors that many educators place an emphasis on as a part of teaching and advising students. And these factors remain central dimensions of the leading Africana Studies programs in the 21st century. The Kwabena Teye Center for Africana Studies seeks to become the center of intellectual and social life at the African University of Communications and Business for all things related to the Africa-centered study of Africa and the African world community. The Teye Center is positioned to accomplish this lofty goal by virtue of being located in the heart of the city of Accra. Africana Studies programming that reflects our global approach to Africana Studies, which is inclusive of continental Africa as well as the African diaspora, and the continued collaboration with other areas and units is central to our commitment to creating a dynamic space of intellectual and social life related to Africa and the African world community. The aim of this center at AUCB is to serve as the foundation of the university's commitment to ensuring that its overall mission is Africa-centered. The Kwabena Teye Center for Africana Studies is an interdisciplinary institution dedicated to the study and advancement of knowledge about the peoples and cultures of Africa and the African diaspora through scholarly research, teaching, and publications aimed at the regeneration of African peoples and societies. Programs such as this one at the Teye Center are designed to do at least 5 things. Number 1, to create and deepen students' awareness of themselves as Africans. Number 2, to enable students to come to an understanding of Africa's role in the world from an African perspective. Number 3, to give students knowledge of African philosophy, religions, and values that would instill confidence in them so that they can function as citizens and contribute their lot to society. Number 4, to introduce students to indigenous knowledge systems in Africa so that they can appreciate Africa's contribution to universal knowledge and be inspired by it. And finally, number 5, to understand the African diaspora or the African world community as a foundational presence in the creation of civilizations in the Americas and elsewhere in the world. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the, is this the third installment of the Global African Diaspora Lecture Series at the Nketia Center at the African University of Communications and Business. Thank you.
So, let's take a short introduction of our. All right, so briefly, Mr. Godfred Teye Mensah Akuffo lectures African Studies at the University of Environment and Sustainable Development, Somanya, Ghana. He is also the composer of the university's anthem and conducts the university's choir. He holds Diploma in Music, Bachelor of Music, Master of Philosophy in Music Education, all from the University of Education, which is in Winneba. He is currently a Doctor of Philosophy, candidate in Arts and Culture at the University of Education, Winneba. He has been involved in facilitating mentorship and leadership training workshops for senior high schools and basic school teachers across the country. He also facilitates National Teaching Council workshops in creative arts and pedagogy for teachers. He is a subject-based professional learning community manual writer for the new SHS curriculum spearheaded by the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, and also a school improvement advisor for senior high schools in Ghana. Mr. Akuffo has taught in all levels of education in Ghana, that is, in basic school for 4 years, senior high school for 4 years, the College of Education for 6 years, and also is now in the university for the past 2 years. Mr. Godfred Teye Mensah Akuffo is a musicologist with research focused on qualitative and mixed methods, performing arts and society, and educational pedagogies. With a round of applause, please let's welcome Mr. Godfred Teye Mensah Akuffo.
Thank you very much. You better Godfred, eh?
Yes, please.
Right, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. And so I'd like to thank the authorities for giving me the platform to come and share with you. I also thank Professor Fleming for also giving me the opportunity to come and use his platform over here. I think last year I was here for one of the programs, and then today I'm here as well. So I'm more or less a friend to this university, and so I'm always available. Anytime I am called upon, I will come and then share with you. So we'll move on. I would like us to watch a video before the presentation. Thank you. The topic for discussion is women participation in drumming in the northern region of Ghana. And so the ensemble, you know, when you have a dance troupe, you call it an ensemble. The ensemble you watched was a Torah ensemble in the northern region. And so the research was based around that ensemble. Prof, can we continue? That's right. Right, so the presentation is going to have an introduction, perhaps the background of the study, a few of the literature that I reviewed, the methodology, results, discussion, conclusion, and then some few recommendations. Right, so background of the study, I want to talk a bit about women, and then we'll look at the role that music play in the African setting. Right, so we know women, they are wives at home. The woman is the wife, the woman is the partner, the woman is the organizer at home. Quite apart from what happens at home, in our society, we know women play important roles. So when we come to the home, when you pick a woman as the organizer, He's the coordinator of schedules in the house. So whatever goes on in the house, all the activities, the woman is the one that coordinates it. He's the administrator. And so you talk about cleaning, laundry, preparing of meals and all of that. The woman does that. He disburses money, finances. That is where the man gives the money, but it's the woman that will give the money to the children to go to school. And so these children feel like it's mommy that provides the money, or sometimes it's the father that actually provides the money. So the woman does the disbursements. He's the economist, so he manages the home, the household, the budget, and she ensures that monies match your expenditure, your income would match the expenditure you do. The woman disciplines the children in the house. So she is the disciplinarian in the house. She sets the rules. She addresses misbehavior and all of that at home. She's the teacher, and then she's the doctor as well. So where the children have to learn how to brush their teeth, how to wash their clothes, how to bath, the woman does all of that, all of those teaching. When it comes to health, they get heads, whatever goes on. Even when the man has headache, it is the woman who looks for medicine for this man to take. So the woman is the doctor at home. Do you agree with me? Yes. The women here, you agree? Yes. Very well. So what we want to establish is that women play a lot of role in our society. Okay, and so we can't take them out of the equation. Then we come to our traditional music. I know our music is something that we had inherited over the years, and it may be through oral tradition, right? That's our traditional music. So it was passed on from generation to generation to us. And so that is what we use. And this music, they play important roles in our society. And so you could see in Getia Opin that some of the things that this music does, you use the music during birth when you are doing outdooring. And so traditional music is used to welcome the child. Don't forget, in Africa, when you talk about music, it's not just the song, but music comes with singing, dancing, and drumming. You can't isolate one from the other. So when you pick Adowa Ensemble, it doesn't come with just singing, but it comes with the drumming, the singing, and then everything. So when I talk about music, it encompasses all of this. Right. So at birth, we use music to welcome the children. And then we tell them that as you've come and stay. And then we want to inculcate the good things into them. During puberty rites, we also use some form of music over there. And over there, the music is used to praise the one that initiates, the one they are initiating. And then also to encourage the other people, the other girls who are coming up, that you have to remain chaste so that you to get to this stage and you are honored in that order. Okay? And then this girl is exposed that now you are ready for marriage and the kind of things you should do. All these things are put into music and sung over there, okay, to honor the occasion. You come to our marriage ceremonies, and so couple, the man, the woman, they are all advised with the music that are performed over there, right? So the role that the man is supposed to play in the marriage, the role that the woman is supposed to play in the marriage, they are all spelled out in our traditional music when it is performed during marriage ceremonies. And you can't take out when family members die. Music comes in there. So that in the face of death, you are encouraged that life goes on. And so some of this music are played there so that you get entertained and you forget about what had happened. That is why when somebody's wife dies or the husband dies, they come and hold that fellow, they come to the dancing floor for him or her to take 1 or 2 steps just for her to be happy and forget about what had happened. It's not just for anything, all right? And if you are a special person that you led a very good life, then they are ushering you into the ancestral home, that you are becoming an ancestor, and so we believe in you. And so the good things that you had done when you were alive, all those things will be put into music and then sung. So I talked about rites of passage, and so you can talk about our festival. During engagement with important dignitaries, African music play vital roles over there. So it is important. But then, these musics are played. Now, we have several roles in the music. people clap. You saw people clapping in the video. People sing. Okay, some clap, some sing, some dance, and some also play instruments. But what role do our women play? Most often, you see the clapping done by women, you see the dancing done by, but of course, the men too can do the clapping. They can clap and dance. They can sing, the men can sing, and then the women can also sing. But when it comes to the drumming, then it is reserved for only men to do the drumming. So basically, we shall look at why our women are exempted from drumming. So I want to talk briefly about the kind of instruments that we have. Once drumming has come in, it means that we deal with instruments. And in the African setting, we have 4 categories of instruments. All right. So we have cordophone. When we go to the Western world, they have the guitar, the strings. All right. But we call it cordophone. So an example is the seprewa, and then you have the goje, kora. You know King Ayusoba? Good. What he plays, okay, the seprewa, that's a chord of a string, and then it's played by plucking. You either pluck or you strike. You strike it and you pluck it. So that's one category of instruments. Can we go to the next slide? So that's one category. Then we have aerophone. So just as the Westerners have the trumpets that they blow, we have aerophones where the column of air you blow into it produces the sound, or it vibrates to bring out the sound. And then we have the interhere. You know, for sometimes during the when they are going to bury a chief and all of that, they play that kind of instrument. And then you can talk about that entebbe. Professor Amu looked on the recorder and then came up with the atentebbe that you see over there. Then you have the odro jaba. So these are all aerophones that you blow air into it and then sound comes. We'll move on. Then the next one is membranophones. So membranophones are African instruments that you hit the membrane to produce sound. The membrane is the head, and so you vibrate it or you hit it, and then sound will come. And some have 2 heads, like the dono you see in there. It has 2 heads, so you hit it. Did you see the dono in the video? Yes. Good, dono. Right, there are some of them. You have the petia, you have the from. You see the from, the photo from ensemble. So the drum is called from. They are the big ones that they hit, that to pan, the talking drum and all of that. We call them membranophones. Very well. And these are predominant in the African setting. You don't see more of the aerophones and then the cordophone, but you see much of the membranophones in our setting. Let's go to the next one. Then you have the idiophone. The idiophones are self-sounding instruments. They are types of instruments that you use them to hit each other to produce sound. Okay, so you have the castanet, what you call mora. But you call it mora. Yeah, the guys call it mora. Very well. So the frichua is called castanet. Right. Then you have the rattle. Now the rattle, the Ewes call it ahache. And then the Akans call it akasawa. So it's like a calabash, and then it has beats around it, and then you hit it, and then you produce the sound. Then you have the dero, or we call it bell. Good. The Akans call it dero, and then the Ewes call it gakokui. Very well. So this is also used. Even sometimes the gongo bita uses this to do announcement. So when you come to our setting, you have the idiophones and then the membranophones being the predominant instruments that we use. And so in the research that we've done, it's the membranophone that you see more in there. So an observation by Nketia, a research that he did, he talked about Takeda dance. And so this is dance drumming. It is a dance drumming which comes from the Anglo Ewe people of southeastern Ghana. And it's a music that symbolizes a historic struggle of Anglo women to exercise their human rights to free speech, their right to talk, to be open. All right. So this is a dance for them. However, the playing of the drum is done by men. Meanwhile, it is the drum that you must use to communicate. So if women, this is a dance for women, but the playing of the drum is done by men. Meanwhile, the means of communication is the drum or the drumming. Are the women communicating? By singing. I said the medium of communication is the drum. Do you understand? It's the drum. So that it is interpreted. It's meant for women. But then the playing of the drum is done by the men. So indirectly, the women are not communicating. Another observation is that, my personal observation, all the ensembles that I have witnessed, most of them, you see the men playing the drum. Most especially the one we saw, the Torah. And so it's because of the Torah that we went to the north to do this research so that we see. In the Torah is an ensemble meant for only women. How come the men are playing the drum? Let's go, Prof. Very well. So in order for me to achieve my aim, I have these three objectives. And so the first one, to investigate the factors that had led to the non-participation of women in drumming in Boku Natinga. You know, Torah is predominant in Boku, and so the place is Natinga. Then to find out the community's opinion on drumming among women in Boku Natinga. And then the last one, to investigate the possible means to erase, if there is any perception or misconception about women involvement in drumming in Boku Natinga. I carved some research questions from the objective. Next slide. And so they will take the tone of the objective. What factors led to the non-participation of women in drumming in Boku Natinga? What are the opinions of community members on drumming among women in Boku Natinga? Then what possible means can we use to erase, or can be used to erase, the misconception about women involvement in drumming in Boku Natinga? Now, I reviewed literature on a few things, and I mentioned them at the beginning of the presentation. Gender roles in African cultures, where I mentioned the men, what the women do more at home. And you know, for the men, when the children are coming up, you may have to follow your father to the farm and all of that. But for the women, they are more of being in the kitchen and then taking care of their younger ones. And for the men, if your father was an instrumentalist, then you have to learn how to play, because you have to succeed your father. You get it? So the sociocultural role of traditional music in Ghanaian societies, and I mentioned birth, I mentioned festivals, I mentioned during puberty rites, I mentioned during funerals, engaging important dignitaries and all of that. Then I think that is that. We'll move on. Then roles in traditional ensemble. And so the roles came up where we saw the clapping done by women, the singing done by women, the dancing done by women, and then for the drumming, it's only done by the men. So Torah ensemble is in the picture. Let's go, Prof, let's go on. Very well. So in order for me to achieve my aim, this is the method I use. So the paradigm is qualitative research method. The case study design was adopted so that I use Torah as a case study. Then the area. Boko has got 10 electoral areas. And so all those 10 electoral areas were covered. The population is members of the community of Boku Natinga. Prof? Very well. So the sample size for this research was 30 participants. And so out of the 30, we have 5 chiefs and then 5 subjects. And then the ensemble members were 20. Prof, you jumped.
I jumped.
Yes. Very well. So the sampling technique, the technique I used was the cluster. So out of the 10, they were paired. All right, so 2, 2, so that I could have 5. And then out of that 5, we randomly picked 1, 1. So we have 10, we have 5, out of 10, 5 were picked. Then each of the picked areas had a quota. So one chief and then a subject. The quota was a chief and a subject. So that we have 5 chiefs. That's how come apparently I had 5 chiefs and then 5 subjects. Then a purposive sampling technique was used. You know, purposive, I needed some information, and it is the Torah ensemble that could give me those information. So I used the purposive to select the Torah ensemble, which is a female ensemble. Now, the data collection instruments, I interviewed the chiefs, the subjects, and some ensemble members, and I did observation of the ensemble during the rehearsal and then other programs. Prof. Okay, data was analyzed qualitatively with text, and then presentation was done in a narrative and a descriptive form. Right, so the findings, the observation. Did you see this instrument in the video? Yeah. Good, so that was the master instrument. It's called gungon. Gungon. And then this one, the accounts call it dono, but they call it lunga. Lunga. Then there's the wia. The wia is what you are here in the thing. Did you see that? Yeah. That's the wia. Okay. So basically that could be an aerophone. But the gungon and then the lunga, they are membranophones. They are instruments that will vibrate the membrane in order for you to get the sound. So the Torah ensemble, it's in the society and it's used for almost all the events. So for festival, for naming ceremony, funerals, it is used for all those events. Very well. So the Torah is performed by the people of Dagomba, Maprusi, and then Nanumba. And then its origination was from, some school of thought said it was from Nigeria, northern Nigeria, and some were of the opinion that it came from Takai. Takai is also another musical ensemble. And so others feel it's emanated from there. Basically, it's meant for women. It's only women who perform it. The context in which it is performed, you have funerals, you have marriage ceremonies, public debates, festivals, even for recreation, for entertainment. It's also used for such functions. Now, drumming, you look at the gender roles, and so drumming is done by the men, singing women, dancing women, and then clapping by the women. The performance practice, you have the cantor. The cantor looks like the conductor of the ensemble. And so if you come to our contemporary world, the one who conducts the choir is the conductor, right? So now in the traditional ensemble, the one who lifts the song, brings out the song, is the cantor. All right, so the cantor pays homage to the instrumentalist. So the cantor will go and they bow, okay, and then pay homage to them. Apart from the instrumentalist, if there are some elders around, the cantor will go and bow, and to show that we are ready to start. It shows a sign of respect. Then the dancing, you saw the dancing that was done. The women do the dancing, and then they bump their buttocks. They hit it hard, eh? Was it hard? Or you felt it? Now, this was done because they felt that the women had so much flesh over there. So because they have enough flesh, they were bumping their buttocks together. Right. Now, the text of the songs that are in the ensemble, you have reflection. So some of the texts are meant for you to reflect. It has historical facts. So they put in history of people. There are people who fought for them to get to where they've gotten to today. They put those facts there so that even if they are gone, they are dead, they've gone, their children can come and learn such history. You are praised. Songs are composed to praise people. And if you are a thief, you are ridiculed with a song. So the moment you are coming, they will mention your name, but you are not the only one who bears that name. So you can't own up, but they are talking about you. Right. Then it's also used to advise people, the songs in there. And then normal human relation, you have some philosophies in there, some sensible texts in there to help you to lead a very decent life. So basically that's about the ensemble. Prof, the next slide. Now, we want to know why women were not allowed to play the drum. And so we have some prevailing taboos, perceptions, and then superstitions. Okay, some connotations why they were not allowing the women to play the drum. And so the first thing you have there said drums are worshipped as gods. And so for them, the drum, they worship the drum. So the drums are believed to facilitate communication with the gods. They believe that they use the drum to communicate with the gods. So the drum is so sacred or sacred, right? Apart from the gods, they use it to communicate with the ancestors. And so not just anybody can touch the drum. So you can say they use it to convey prayers, to pray to the to pray to the gods, or to offer gratitude or offering unto the gods. So they feel they are sacred. And we know our women at a certain time of the month, they burn. Something happens. And so we feel when they undergo that, they are not too pure to touch the drum, because these drums are purified before use. Some of these drums are played. You realize that you go to the traditional setting and the drum is played and somebody will start dancing and the spirit will fall on the person. The person will start doing something awkward. It's because of the drum that is being played. And the person may be dancing according to the rhythm. Not dancing for entertainment, but the person has been possessed. All right. So if women that, in quote, they assume that they were not too clean, they touch it, it will lose its efficacy. So that where the person is, they are supposed to play the drum for you to say some things that the gods want us to say, it will not happen. The drum is not clean, so it will not force the spirit to descend. And so these are some of the reasons why. So drums were considered sacred. I mentioned that drums have spiritual powers because they were fortified. So they were purified. Normally the wood that is used to construct the drum, they are purified. And so it isn't just the wood, they also use animal hide. Okay, so they put it there and then they purify it because they don't want any evil spirits to, the trees are out there, the animals are out there, they don't know what possesses them. So they don't want any of those spirits to be with the drum, any negative spirit. So before the drum is constructed, the wood and then the animal skin, they are all purified before the construction comes on. Then there are going to be spiritual dangers which would affect any victim for the rest of her life. So they believe that if a woman plays the drum, you are going to have some repercussion, spiritual repercussion. And so the women are not allowed. We can also talk about gender role. And so for women, they feel household chores, fetching the water, grinding maize, cooking, caring for the younger siblings. Those are the things that they have to do. Apart from that, there is the perception that women don't have that energy because we are dealing with drums. The drums may be heavy. Okay, so you need muscles, you need a lot of energy to play the drums. And so men are seen to have that energy, that ability to do it. Then also you realize that at the infancy, women, the girls, they follow their parents into the kitchen and the rest. And then the men, they follow their fathers. And so if your father is an instrumentalist or belongs to an ensemble, you followed him there. And so you are observing and you are learning how to play certain. So at the age where you want to exhibit, you don't even have any skill as a woman to play. But the male, having observed the drum from infancy onward, the male has the ability, the little push will be able to play the drum. Oh no. Right, so for them, there are some implications. So if the women play the drum, they are going to have swelling of their body. Okay, then unusual abdominal pains, they are going to feel pains at their abdomen. Then non-stop menstruation, they are going to menstruate. Then spiritual dangers would affect any victim for the rest. I think I mentioned that. They develop a very big testicle. And yeah, so they called it point, and it is in Kusa language. They call it point. It is in Kusa language. That when you play the drum, you, the woman, you are going to develop that testicle. Yes. Yes. So then this one, the drum will lose its powers. I mentioned that. And don't forget, in the olden days, even drums are used to ensemble people to come together, even in war. All right. So they feel the gods will follow them to the war, and then the gods will back you in the fight, in the war. So if the drum has lost its powers, what will help you to win the war? You get it? So they feel the drums will lose its powers. Because of that, they don't want women to come closer to it. And I talked about the gender roles that we know. Gradually it's going off, but still some of these things are still there. Prof? Yes. So the research has brought to light some of the traditional perceptions about women in Boko Natinga in terms of their involvement in the playing of drums, thus identifying the impact if women are allowed to drum in traditional music making. However, women playing drums could have one of the most empowering and liberating experiences. It will build their confidence for life. You know, when you play the drum, you play your rhythm alone. So you are allowed to play a particular rhythm. And so you master confidence so that if somebody is playing another rhythm contrary to yours, you are concentrated on yours. And so you play it all through. And so if women are allowed to do that, at least their concentration level will be high. They'll be able to have confidence in their doing. Women who struggle to communicate can use drums as a medium to express themselves. You know, we use instruments to express yourself. Sometimes you can even use gestures to express yourself very well. Then drumming can also offer women the opportunity to acquire critical thinking skills. You know, for you to drum, you have to be able to think critically. There are a lot of things that go on. And for the contemporary instrument you see there, you have this hand, you know, the jazz, what you call the drum set. This hand is playing, this one is playing, this one is playing, this one. So all are playing and you are looking on. All right. So if women should learn this, at least they can be able to think critically, concentrate on the one singing. They play all these roles at the same time. Then collaboration. You know, you don't do it alone in the ensemble. Somebody is playing and playing. We are all playing. You learn to collaborate, to come together, and then problem-solving skills. Right. Right. So in order to erase some of this perception, these are a few recommendations. We think more education has to be done, because in the Western world you see women drumming, and so women can also be given the opportunity to drum. Then also they can showcase their talent. Women also have some kind of talent in them. Then exposed to drum training. Well, so just as I mentioned to that, men are usually exposed to drum at the early stage. If women are exposed that way, I think by the time they grow, they might have mastered the skill and then play drum very well. And so some examples can be given about some professionals, that some professions are not meant for only the male, but what men can do, no women can do better, women can also do. What men can do, women can also do. What men can do, women can also do. So you can talk about doctors, women can also become doctors, lawyers, women can become lawyers, engineers, Liberia. You can recall, Liberia had a woman president. And so for now, Ghana, we have a female vice president, which has never happened before. Then you can talk about Speaker of Parliament. One of the former Speaker of Parliament was a female. All right. So you can talk about Yasatua, who led a war. All right. So if women are given the opportunity, at least they can also do better. And then we may have some economic benefits. Drumming could be a career. It could be a career for somebody. At least when we talk about unemployment, some can venture into that so that we reduce the unemployment we have. Right. Thank you very much. And so that is it for me.
We'll do some Q&A.
Okay.
of time, we will allow a few questions. It's about 10 minutes after 3 now. Does any student in particular have a question they'd like to ask Mr. Akuffo? Anyone would like to start? Yes, sir.
With regards to the reasons for which women are not permitted to play drums, are they based on real life experiences or perceptions? Because with reference to where the drum loses its powers, all of that, there are other traditions that goes in, for example, when there's going to the day of war, they do other traditions before even going to war, sounding with drums. So in such instances, are these contributions based on perception? As if this is what will happen, or there are evidence that can this and this is happening before, for which women are not permitted.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for your question. That is an important question, a very good one. You know, in our context now, there's no war. Today, there's no war. Right. So all these things are based on past experiences. And so what their forefathers had told them. And so some of these people don't want to wait till the thing will happen. And so they are avoiding it. So now war doesn't exist, but they say these things based on past experience and what they had inherited, what has been passed on onto them. And that is why, and I don't think any of them would like to try it. Which of the women would like to have that menstrual thing throughout the year? So you don't even want to try it for it to come. Unless you want to sacrifice, you want to be a victim, you get it. So that is how it is. So all these were based on interview, the natives. So these are the things they believe in. And so they don't even want to try it for it to happen. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. So since they said the drums carries power,
Yes.
I want to ask if they are the ones who mold the drum, because they don't know that, as you know, you've been buying some on the market and nothing happens when you play. But here it carries power, so I want to know if they are the ones who mold it.
Thank you. That's a very good one too. You know, I mentioned that the drums are purified. Okay, they are pacified before. Okay, so the normal dono you may buy at the roadside is constructed by the ordinary person. He just did that. But the one that are meant for special rituals, special things for the ensemble. You know, those days the ensemble, it isn't just anybody that will get up and go and play drum. They have special drummers. And they don't buy the drums at the roadside. They have special people who construct it for them. So the drums are consecrated before giving to the ensembles too. But the ones we buy on the roadside, they are mere, the ordinary drums. I don't think they carry any powers. You get it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Service, I'd like to know what influenced you in choosing your research paradigm.
Which of the qualitative?
Sure.
Oh, very well. You know, this is more of humanity, right? And then my research instrument. So I was not dealing with figures. I was dealing with what they told me. Okay, so observation, I went and looked at the thing. After looking at the thing, I have to describe. And so I needed words to describe the thing. I made an interview. I recorded, so I have to transcribe. So you have to write it. All right, so that is what informed my paradigm. I'm not dealing with figures. I'm not doing qualitative. I needed to, that's why it's qualitative. Did you get it? All right. If you're not okay, you can ask a follow-up.
But I think choosing mixed methods, that one can also help. So why did you went into going for qualitative?
Yes, okay. I could have chosen mixed method if I wanted to do with some numbers. So I may be going for how many cases were involved. So how many people had the menstrual thing running? How many, then I'm talking about numbers. But I didn't inquire about how many, and all of that. So I interviewed, I observed them, and then I wrote it. So purely, because I like mixed method. It gives variation when you are. So that is it. More questions?
So just a comment.
Yes.
Go ahead. Well, let's allow someone who hasn't spoken before you meet, and then we'll come back to you, sir.
The lady want to hear you.
Yes, please. So just like the ladies had implications if they play the drums, were there any implications if men sing or they dance or they clap? Like I want to know.
Okay, so for the men, there were no implications. And you know, for the singing, the cantor has to be somebody who is very talented. Okay, so on the spot, the cantor can compose there and then. Okay, the cantor can see, okay, that lady was lying on you. The cantor can use that one to compose right now. You get it? So if it is a male that is talented in that direction, the male can do the composition or can lead them. And the moment he composes, he brings out the song, call and respond. He sings it, and then very quickly the people respond, and then they go their way. Do you understand? There could be chiefs around, and then they want to praise them. They can use their names and put them in the song. So the singing, the dancing, men could do it, but nothing, no implication. But it is the drum that we feel the drums had some spirits. That's why women were not allowed to beat it. Thank you. Yes. Okay.
Because I've seen some ladies.
Yes.
I saw this lady who responded, and you see the energy. The whole thing was very interesting.
Yes.
It was very nice.
Yes.
But I don't know the reason why they are not allowing them. It was because at the beginning of the whole this drum thing, there will not even maybe lady or woman for such occasion to be played, because if there were to be a lady or woman at that time to take over from that particular line, there won't be any distance that they will decide.
Yes. So you realize that from the beginning, I told you that women were sent to the kitchen. You followed your mother. You know, the background that I gave, that the rules that gender, that's gender rule. Gender is the perception that we have that a man should not sweep, a man should not carry water. But man can sweep, man can carry water, man can wash the bowl. You get it? So we had those gender rules at the back of our mind. But if women were to be involved from the beginning, like now they will be expressing themselves. And I also mentioned that we Africans, we believe that when it gets to that time of the month, women are not too clean. That's the belief. Okay, so because of that, they are not allowed to. Okay, so that is what Africans believe, that when it gets to that time. So now, oftentimes, the time that you need to rehearse or practice, then they say you are not clean, so you can't go and touch it. And they made it sad that you don't even go there and say that this time they are not doing that thing, so I can touch it. Because somebody will forget that I'm doing that thing and go and touch it. You get it? So, or somebody would like to try and see what will happen. So they just put the rule there so that you don't even go there. Even fetching water, there are some rivers that women cannot go and fetch water at some time. You get it? So these things, they've been there. But gradually we'll get there. Yes. Yes.
There have been instances where, in cases of tribal or ethnical wars, where most men die, women have to take up
Yes.
more and all of that, even fight them.
Yes.
Instances where that's Santua had to leave the Ashanti kingdom into war and all of this. And currently, there are some movies which I have watched which try to portray the olden days era into the current days, like the woman kingdom, women are taking up some responsibilities. In such instances where there are no men to play such roles, what permits women to take up some of these roles?
So you can talk about what permitted Yasantua to take up. All the men were afraid to go, and she had the courage. All right. So once the woman has the courage, you feel they can do spirit. I have the potential, and you come up. You can do it. Okay, you can do it. So at a point in time, there were some jobs that women feel no, we can't do. For instance, a woman cannot be a military personnel. A woman cannot be a police officer just because of the energy within. But today, women are venturing into that. And I talked about the president, our current vice president, and all of that. So women gradually are doing well. Once you find the potential, you feel you have the potential, you have the energy, and you can do it. And even women are drumming now, not in our traditional setup, but you know, drums, yes, in churches, women are also they are drumming. Yeah, so some ensembles may permit, but in other jurisdictions, they may not permit. Prof.
So from your findings,
Yes.
when you went there, did you come across any statement from either a chief or an elderly person that, okay, for now we've fought libation, and in doing that, we are now training our women to play the drums, or they still hold to their old belief?
Yeah, they still hold to their old belief. So they are not making any attempts to, let's say, pour the libation or to seek permission for women to. So when it comes to such ensembles, they expect the men to play the drum and then the women to do the other things they do.
Very good. Any additional questions, comments, concerns? Not yet. Yeah. This is one of the reasons that I enjoy teaching and working with Mr. Akuffo over the years, and I'm so pleased that he has joined us in Accra at AUCB. Some of you are aware we used to teach African studies together. So I'm having, I'm living my best life. Is that what we call it now? Yes, I'm living my best life today. Okay. I have a couple of questions that I wrote down. I'll ask one, and perhaps students and other audience members may have some additional questions. So, my first question, and I guess I should ask the most important one first. Do you think that drumming, music, the implications of your study has any resonance or paves a way towards facilitating peace in the northern regions of Ghana because of the conflicts that are occurring even today? I'm wondering if there's anything that music or drumming can do to help facilitate peace.
Yes, music can do, because music would bring people together. And so once music is played and you are getting entertained, at least you are watching together, you laugh together. Okay, so that tension that has been there between you, the rivalry and all of that, I think it can go gradually. And so you may have to create a contest, perhaps a festival where all parties can come on board. And so music is being played. And you don't choose a music of one tribe, but you pick that of this tribe and pick that of this tribe, and then you mix the performance. So you can make this tribe go and perform the music of these people, so that they feel that, oh, you like us, you like what we have, and you too come and perform that of these people, okay? Or you mix, you merge, all right, and then you do a common thing. And so in that way, they see that we are one people. Why should we fight? All right, why should we kill each other? Again, you can use the music to pass on a message, a peace message. So you can choreograph. I mentioned that in African setting, music doesn't go without drumming and dancing. So you can choreograph a dance, a peace dance, that we are one people, that will be demonstrated in the music as you play it. And the people will get to know that, after all, what are we doing? We are causing harm to each other. We are destroying the environment. We are destroying humanity. Innocent children are being destroyed. What will be the future for us if we do all of this? You get it? So music can be a medium for peace. Thank you.
Very much. Additional questions? Sorry, yes, sir.
Okay, sir. So there's one thing that they are forgetting to.
Yes.
You see the drum goes with the dance.
Yes.
And they are saying that the women cannot do the drum, but they can rather dance.
Dance.
So if there's no dance, there would be no
Drumming.
drum.
Exactly.
And also, these same women that they are talking, they are saying that maybe they will be in their mat thing and they are not supposed to touch the drum. But the same man thing that they can dance within that period when the drum that they are playing.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I don't know, but
Yes, I think you have a point, but the main thing is the touching of the drum. So you do the performance, you dance, but you not touch the drum. Beating it, playing it, touching it is where the issue is. And I like the point you were making that you needed energy to play the drum. You also need energy to dance. So if we are saying women are the weaker body, they don't have the energy and the strength to play. How about the dancing? You needed that. So I think the concentration is on touching the drum because the drums have been purified. And I also mentioned that sometimes in war, these drums are sent to war. And so they believe that the gods go with them. And they use these drums to communicate with the gods. So if the drum loses its efficacy, how are you going to reach the gods to win the war? You get it? So that's the reason. But you have a fine case, a fine situation that how we juxtapose the two. The energy in dancing, the energy in playing the drums. But it goes beyond that. That's the only thing. Thank you.
Okay, so from your research, you made us know that when the drum is being beaten, and then it causes the gods to speak, and then like they elect somebody in their midst, and then the gods
Like how you prophesy in the church.
Yeah. So let's assume, so in case those women, maybe they are in their menstruation period. How is the God going to communicate through them?
Okay. Now there's a saying that the spirit will not descend without music. When I talk about music, just consider music, dance, drama, all are in hand. The spirit, even in church, the church we go to, when you go to church and a good adoration is done, a good praise is done, the spirit will come. On it will come. You see the spirit flowing. That's what we believe. The Christians, you believe in that, right? It flows. You go to church and adoration is done, praise is done. You say, today the church was not sweet at all. Don't you say that? Now, in the traditional setup, it's also believed that the spirit will descend when you play the music. And then it is through the drums that the spirit will come down. I thought we were going to make the point that, okay, come again.
Okay, the drum is clean. Those that are playing are clean.
Yes.
But the person that the spirit will pass through to
And
communicate is unclean. So how is the spirit going to work at that moment?
Okay, so do you know that the spirits, they choose? And so it isn't just anybody. So they may tell you that if you are in that, the spirit will not choose you. The spirit will choose somebody else to talk. Do you get it? If you are in that, the spirit will not choose you. So that's what happens. Are you okay? Okay.
From your findings, what are some of your recommendations you think when it is being adopted is going to help?
Okay, before I answer this, the previous thing that we said, you see that even in a let's say the church tradition, it's not just anybody that can do that prophecy. You see that the person doing that, at least the person is decent, the person is not a thief, the person doesn't commit social vices and all of that. You do get it? Yeah. A decent person. Now you say, what are my recommendations? Yes, so I mentioned that we can do a lot of education. That women have some potential in them. They have some skill. That when we nurture, they can do better. And I also mentioned about the economic advantage. That some can go into professional drumming and it will reduce our unemployment thing. You get it? So we can educate our people that no, women have some potential. That gender thing, women can also do something. Not that the women will parade the thing that we can do better. The women are there, but you can also do. You can also do. Thank you. Yeah.
You see, with the issue of power in drum is very true because I've been wondering how and why David played a lyre for King Saul on clean spirit to lift. I've been wondering about this, like normal guitar.
Yeah.
How? So that goes with the power in this instrument that we are talking about.
You see, music is so powerful. Music can let you confess. Are you aware?
Yes.
Yes, music can music can make you cry. Just listening to music, you just put yourself in the shoes of the lyrics. The lyrics that is being played, and you remember your story. Oh, you said you remember your story. Heartbreaking, right? You remember your story. So for music, it's so powerful. Just that sometimes we don't value it. But some people learn with music. Music is being played at the background and they study. Some people are okay with that. Alright? So when you are sad, you put on music, at least it's soothing. At least you refresh yourself. You reflect on the lyrics and all of that of the music. And then even the sound, music is played in a supermarket, you are walking and you start walking with the music.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
You get it. Right, so it's so powerful. Alright, and it can indirectly it can control you. Thank you.
So, it's important to your research. Did you come across any challenge or difficulties?
Yes, there were a few challenges because some of these things, some are not ready to open up to tell you what it is because they don't know what you are going to use the data for. And so now in the age of social media and all of that, you are recording somebody. Okay, you are recording. The person is not comfortable, you are recording because the next time it's on WhatsApp, it's on Facebook, and then there. So they are not too comfortable. So sometimes they don't open up. Then one other thing too, when you go to the chief, you have to send some snap and all of that. And some people, before you interview them, they may request, give me something before. You see, so these are a few challenges you may face. And I live down here. I have to travel to the north. The risk and okay. So all these are parts.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Akuffo. Any additional questions, concerns, comments? I'll ask one final question. I have two more, but we'll talk about the other one offline.
Okay.
What are some of the most important lessons that young artists or aspiring artists can learn from musicology, especially from an African perspective?
Thank you. There are so many things you can learn, lessons you can learn. If you pick African music, the lyrics, look at the kind of songs we play now, full of profanes.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want advice, pick African music, and you can get advice over there. If you want encouragement, you can find encouragement in our music. The lyrics of our songs, they are very good. And they will help you. They will go a long way to help you. And our tradition is our tradition. It must not die off. This is what we have been born into. We are Africans first. You are an African first. So let us be proud. Let us love our own, because there are a lot of lessons. So you pick that of what is played during outdooring and the rest. And so you are welcoming the child. Indirectly, you are learning to welcome a stranger when the person comes to your home. Because the child is a stranger, he has not come into the world. So you need to welcome that child and tell that child to stay. So how you welcome the child depends on how he also lives. Alright? When it comes to the puberty right, it will encourage most of our girls to be chaste, or you say chaste, however you call it, to be chaste so that you get there, so that you're also honored. So the lyrics of the song, your name is put inside there, you've been able to take good care of yourself and you've gotten to this stage. And so all the men should come and see you are ready for marriage. Then you come to our marriage ceremony, and so the advice that are in the song, that as you are going, you must not be controlling your husband, you have to be submissive. And you, the man, you must love your wife. You get it? So all these are advice, and you come to the funeral, in the face of the difficulty, they are telling you that life must go on. For all you know, that person who died is a breadwinner. And if that person had not gone there, you may not identify your potential because you were hiding under that person. But once the person goes, you don't have anybody covering you. So now you stand up to yourself. You pick life into your own hands. You fight for yourself. You don't depend on anybody again. You get it? So in the face of death, in the face of the difficulty, they are telling you that life must go on. You must move on. Alright, so forget about all that has happened. Then we talk about history. People have done a lot for us in our society. They are dead and gone. How would you know? They've done good things. And so these things are put into our music. And then you sing them. There was a music about Confanoche. I heard it on the radio. I was very happy. It was narrated from the time he was born. It was narrated in the song till the time he died. And even the thing that, what happened, how he said he was going to die and then he would rise again. All were in the song. And I was so happy. So whoever heard about Confanoche and didn't know the history or didn't know the story about him, having heard that music, at least you've learned. All right. So these lessons must not only come into our classrooms. You may not need to have the teacher in the classroom to teach you, but you having gotten the opportunity to listen to the song, you've learned on your own, and it's also enough. Prof. Yes.
You see, nowadays, we, the youth of nowadays, we are only concerned with our foreign
Yes.
songs and foreign. I'm not saying foreign songs are bad, no.
Yes.
But with regards to what we are learning now, African music carries some power, carries some unique
Yeah.
that I will encourage all the youth here to learn. Like what we had the other day, the program that we had, like the songs of Daughters of Glory, these three songs. There are a lot of people here, they don't know three songs as they are also part of Africa.
Yeah.
You see, but I will encourage all of us here that our African songs are very, very powerful. They are very good. So let us all live to that.
Yeah. So
What advice you would give to students like us that will soon be on the field of researching? Like, what advice do you have for it?
thank you. So what I'll tell you that if you go to the field, now so many softwares and all of that, AIs have come. You have to do what is real, what you find on the field. You don't depend on you just Google and that is all. Then also whatever transpired on the field, bring that, whatever you had, that if don't skew the information that you've had. And it is good to go into research because you learn more. It broadens your mind. You get it. So you do research, you go and learn about other things, and then you come and share. You write articles for people to read. At least you are sharing knowledge. And more importantly, some of these are traditions. There are so many of them that people have not written about. People have not researched about. They've not been documented. So at least, yes, if you go into research, you learn them, you document it. Sometimes we allow Westerners to come and do the documentation. And even spelling of our local language, they are not spelled well. And it is put on the net for us to go and read. When we are here, the thing belongs to us. So we can do it better. We can go into the research about the thing better, and then we put it there, than allowing others to do it for us. You get it? Thank you.
Thanks so much for you guys coming back. Remember, next week, what's going on next week?
We have a speaker on African traditional naming practices, and we also are going to have a film series on Tuesday night. Thursday during the daytime, during this hour, we'll have a speaker that's a part of this series, but in the evening on Tuesday, we'll be showing a film with free popcorn and free refreshments.
And for those of you who are interested in research, we're going to start something on food security and policy. So those of you interested, you'll be paid to go as assistants. You travel around the 16 regions of these countries. And then you'll be paid, those of you who are serious, and then to gather information and all that. So all those who are interested, please give your names and phone numbers to. Then we are negotiating how much you'll be paid to do that. Your hotel, whatever, all those. No, during this time, no. And the thing is that, no, you do that. Monday through Thursday, then the weekend you're back, but they'll credit you on the print itself. It's a very well funded research. Thanks so much for coming. I'll leave you guys to meet.
Okay, so any additional question? I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions before we close. Okay, I'll ask my last question.
Okay, Prof.
How do women in the northern region feel themselves about traditions in drumming, particularly their participation and non-participation? What are their particular thoughts?
Okay, so for the women out there, they wish they could get the opportunity and then express themselves. But because of these boundaries, they become reserved. But for them, if they get the opportunity, they will express themselves. The talents they have, they could learn and also perform. Yeah, that is it.
Thank you very much. Let's give Mr. Akuffo a round of applause. And thank you very much for the knowledge that you have imparted upon us. As you can see, the audience is very excited about the information you shared with us. So thank you, sir.
Thank you too. It has been interactive, and I'm always available. You can always call on me.
Thank you very much. We will definitely be inviting you again.
Okay.
So we have one student who's going to give us closing remarks before we depart and engage in our everyday activities or revolutionary activities. Which one is it?
Okay, so hello once again. Thank you for the educative lecture, Mr. Akuffo. We've learned a lot, I guess. I have learned a lot. And hopefully we'll be here next week to learn more from this center. Always know that the center is here to teach us everything and anything we have to know on Africana studies. So thank you all for coming, and hopefully we will see you next week.
Thank you.